Okay, well, good afternoon. Welcome to the Shrine of Our Lady of La Salette. We're here now during the Festival of Lights. My name is Father John Sullivan. I'm a missionary of Our Lady of La Salette and very grateful for that. And today we have a special guest, Father Charles DeRusso, he has donated these hundreds of manger scenes or creches from all over the world. And Father Charles is going to talk to us today about those creches. And we look forward very much to learning more about that. This is an integral part of our Festival of Lights. Every night we have children coming in here and writing birthday wishes for the baby Jesus and then hanging them on the strings on either side of the chapel. And so many people have talked about this, including my own sister from Boston. So let's give it to Father Charles now as he tells us about these beautiful creches and mangers, and we're so grateful for his generosity to give us these gifts.
Thank you very much, Father John, for inviting me. I started this collection back in 1980. Really, it goes back maybe to 1970. My aunt Germaine Hughes in Manchester made a nativity scene for me. It was very original. She took spools from the Amnesty cotton mills in Manchester for the bodies, and then she emptied eggs, covered them with a nylon stocking and a popsicle stick, and it made the heads for everyone. And then she dressed them with different kinds of cloth and then sprayed them all gold, except the Magi. The Magi had, one had a bright red cape, the other one had a Kelly green grape, and the other one had a golden cape. And so that was my first one. In 1980, I went with 4 friends to Acapulco in Mexico, and I saw the one that is down here. It is a creche that I thought it was so very interesting because you see Mary is dressed as a Mexican bride, and Joseph is a Mexican. He has a sombrero on his back. He has a gourd for his travels. And so I bought the Holy Family and the 2 animals, and I went back the next year and I got the angels and the shepherds and the Magi, and so I added to that. They come right from Acapulco, Mexico. And so that was the beginning, because I said to the other tourists, I said, I don't need more than 1 nativity scene, but they said, you know what, your rectory, there's more than 1 room, so that now I had 2. And then I kept going back to different places. I love to travel, and so I would look for nativities, and again in Acapulco I found this one here. This is all made with papier-mâché, and we even have some dancers that come and entertain the child Jesus. And I had one that has disappeared throughout the time. It was a little clown with multicolored balloons, and so I had that. And so after a while in my parish in Candia, New Hampshire, I had about 20, and then I'd add 5 more, and then the kids would come to the parish library and they would vote, what is your favorite nativity? And some would say, well, it's the one from Mexico, or it's the one from Italy, or it's the one from Spain or Africa. And so we have the most popular every year of the different nativities. And so in 1990, there was a statewide diocesan congress at St. Anselm's College, and one of the teachers asked me, would I share my nativities with the teachers? So I brought them to the library at St. Anselm's, and they were displayed there, and people loved them. So that led to developing what was the official diocesan museum in Manchester, which started in the sacristy of St. Anne's Church, which is closed today, unfortunately. And so people went there, and so every year I had to buy 10 more or 5 more, and I'd go to Poland, and I'd go to India. I have some from India, different places, and so I have different nativities. And the Diocesan Museum lasted till about 2003, and then it closed. And after it closed, they all came back to Papa. And so I didn't know what to do with them, so I called the La Salette Shrine and I asked the La Salette Fathers, would you be interested? And they said, no, we have so many activities, we don't want to add anything new, thank you very much. But then about 4 or 5 years ago now it was, they called back and said, do you still have those nativities available for us, because we have an A-frame chapel that we might be able to display them? I said, I do. They said, can we come in a couple of days to see them? I said, yes. Oh, they said, there are many more than we thought, and they're much nicer than we thought. So he said, can we have them all? I said, yes. And so they came, and they made several truckloads of them. And he said, how many do you have? I said, I know I have over 300. 300? That when they unpacked them, they said, do you know how many we unpacked? I said, no. He said, over 450. And some are still in the sacristy because we had no room to show them. And of all the nativities, my favorite is the one that is in front here. You see all these people from southern France. These are known as santons. Santons means little saints. That means all the people going to see the Christ child at Christmas. And you see there is the stable, and you see Mary and Joseph and the baby. Those are not santons. Santons is the villages. And so there's a story, and there are all kinds of stories, because during the French Revolution, all churches, all schools stopped teaching religion. All churches were closed, and the people of southern France wanted to pass on the tradition of the nativity of the Savior to their children. And so they started making little clay models of Mary, Joseph, and the baby. They put them in the sun, baked them, and then on Christmas Eve, the parents and the children would get together, and the parents would tell them the story of Jesus. And it's very interesting. And one of the stories goes something like this. It was a very, very dark and cold night in southern France on December 24th. And everybody went into bed early because they had no electricity in those days. And so they put many blankets on, and they had a hard time sleeping because the wind was wrestling all around them. And then a few minutes before midnight, the wind stopped. It was so still that many people woke up. And then they heard bufarillo. Bufarillo is in the local dialect, big cheeks. And big cheeks was the trumpeter of the angels for the Lord. So when the Lord had something important to say, he would blow. And that night at midnight, he blew louder than ever. And it was just beautiful. People went to their windows and they saw angels in the sky singing, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to people of good will." And so they said, let's get dressed and let's go pay homage to the Savior who has been born in the stable here outside the town. And what will we bring? Some people bring, like the baker will bring some loaves of bread that he was just preparing to sell to people for Christmas. And so there were some people who could not go. One of them was Gabriel. Gabriel was a shepherd, and that day his favorite dog, which was a white dog, and you can almost see the white dog someplace up there, I don't know, it was there, and the white dog had died. And he says, "My heart is so troubled that I cannot go and rejoice with everyone who is going to pay homage to the Savior. I will stay here." And then when the trumpet blew, he looked and his dog was moving. His dog got up. His dog had resurrected. And so he brought his dog to the infant Jesus and said, "You came into the world to save the world, and you gave life to my dog. I give it to you." And Mary said, "Oh, you're too generous. You need it to take care. But my son, when he grows up, will also become a shepherd. And he does not need a dog to shepherd people, but you need to shepherd your sheep." And then there was another lady. Her little baby was very, very sick. And she said, "Oh, look at all the people going towards the stable, and I can't go. I have to stay with my sick baby." And so she went to comfort him, and the fever had left him. And so she wrapped him up in blankets, and she brought him to the Lord and said, "Thank you, Lord, for bringing back my baby to life." And then there was the little man who was the town troublemaker. He was a homeless man, and he used to steal here and there, and that night he went to somebody's hen coop, and he stole eggs, and he put them in a nest, and then he stole a chicken for his Christmas dinner. He knew he was going to have a Christmas dinner already, Christmas Eve. And so he saw the others going, he followed them, and then he had a great deal of repentance. And so he said, "Mother Mary, here are my gifts for you. I give you a chicken for your Christmas dinner and some eggs so that you can make a great breakfast." And Mary said, "You have been a troublemaker, my dear son, but you didn't get those honestly, so I want you to return it to the people. But my son certainly loves you because you have a good heart." Yeah. All these other people here bring something. There's the doctor who brings something. There is the mailman up there who brings some mail to Jesus. There's the man who grows the garlic. And then there's one here who doesn't belong in there. And in French nativity scenes, that people who collect these, they can add other people who are important. And up there is a smaller one, and that's Bernadette Soubirous. And since I bought my first Santons in Lourdes, because the Holy Family, some of the shepherds, I bought them in Lourdes, and in that time, which was 1990, they were $65 and $75 each, because they're all handmade. The clothes are all handmade, and so I bought them, and then I went back to Lourdes several times, and I bought more to add to that. And another person that I add that was not part of it is Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She's the one on the other side of Mary. You see Mother Teresa sitting down there with her white and blue piping. And so Mother Teresa is in our... And you see one of the shepherds there, he has a vest made of lamb wool. And there are others. There's a grandmother who comes and she brings a nice blanket that she made. It's a quilt. She made it just for the child Jesus. And there are, you can look at all of them. There's the grandmother rocking. There's the teacher teaching how to spell. And then right in the middle above the Last Supper, there's a couple. Now that was twice the price because there's two in that. And that is a poor family. They had nothing to bring except they brought sticks in order to heat the cave where the baby was born. So every one of these people there's a nun there, there's a Franciscan friar there, there's the pastor, and there's two men with red umbrellas. What does red umbrellas mean in the old French Provençal? It's the most important men of the city. And so the mayor has a right to have a red umbrella. And so you will find the mayor is there. And also the pastor can have a red umbrella. So you will see that there's a priest, and I think he has a red umbrella someplace. So this is the nicest one of the nativities. And so here, after that, Santons were repeated in different parts of the world. I have Santons from Quebec. In Quebec, the temperature is much different from southern France, which is really more or less like the Caribbean, So Quebec, the first story was that on Christmas Eve was on the radio, and that was in the 1948. And the story was that in Quebec City, there was this wild snowstorm, and it was terrible, and then Mary was going to have a baby, and she said, I want our baby to be born in the Church of Holy Family on the Isle of Orleans. So if you've been to Quebec and you go towards St. Anne-de-Beaupré, there's a big island with a bridge that crosses, and the first chapel on your left is Holy Family. So he bundled up Joseph, and he bundled up his wife, and they walked from Quebec City to almost 20 miles to the Isle of Orleans. And there, in the church in the Isle of Orleans, Jesus was born. And so this is a Quebec legend. And so people came to visit him in the Church of the Holy Family. I have here, yes?
Yeah, I just want to, what do you think? There's so many different cultures here
Yes.
represented. Did you buy those in those many different countries? Or did you?
Most of them I did,
Yeah.
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Most of them I bought them in different countries, and some of them I went to Boston. There's a place in Cambridge that has known as Thousand Villages, and it's run by the Mennonites, and they have missionaries in all parts of the world, and they have many nativities from different parts of the world. So there's one here from Nepal, and that I bought there after Christmas at the half-price sale. I think fall after Christmas at half-price sale. But I'd like to show you this one here. This is a Quebec, and the Santons. They're the small ones, and they're all baked clay, made by hand, and then also they tell the story. There's Mary and Joseph, and they come in this company. The man who makes them makes the ordinary Mary in blue and white, and Joseph but you can have those that look like the French settlers who came to New France. You see, he has that special belt, multicolored belt, which was a sign of the fur traders in the time of the French New France. And the baby is covered, and then you have cats, and you have pigs, and you have geese. And also, in here, they have added some people from the folklore. That you have Brother Andre, Saint Brother Andre of Montreal. And so he's there. You have the man next to him is Champlain, the founder of Quebec City. And then you have Mary of the Incarnation, the first nun to come and teach the Indians in North America. And then you have, even before him, you see the man there, that is Jacques Cartier, who discovered the St. Lawrence River in August, the Feast of St. Lawrence. That's why he called that big river that we have north of us. And then there is also a man there with a clock. And he's known as the boogeyman to French Canadians. And the name of the boogeyman is Beware of the Man Who Comes Out at 7 o'clock. So you see his clock is pointing to 7. And I was raised up in Manchester in a French Canadian family, and Mother would always say, come in before the lights go on, or the 7 o'clock man will get you. So I was always home in time, but that's a French Canadian. This here I got in the Amazon jungle in Peru. And the Amazon, goes up and down. And so people live in thatch huts like this, and they use sisal. All this is sisal, and they do all kinds of things. And also, as you see, the house is on stilts, and it's open for that's how they live. And they have a ladder to get to their house, so when the floods come, they're on dry land. So it's typical. This here I got from whatchamacallit, stained glass. And this one I got in the Ukraine. I couldn't get, Ukraine used to be part of Russia, and when I went it was part of Russia. And there's the Holy Family, and there are two prophets on each side. This one is from Bethlehem. It's olive wood. Our Bethlehem is full of pine trees and things like that, and white birch. Well, not in Bethlehem. They have mainly olive wood and also other kinds of trees. And so this is olive wood, all from Bethlehem. This one is from Cameroon in Africa. I bought that at that store, 1,000 Villages. This one here is from Poland. And in Poland, they do a lot with this kind of paper that is used to find in cigarette packets. We used to during the war. Tin foil, yeah. And so they have it in different colors, and they always have a nativity at the main door of the church, and then they can be all kinds. And on top, the red and white flag is the Polish flag, and when I lent it to the Franco-American Center for their display one year, one of the flags disappeared. So the flag has disappeared. These here come from Arizona, but I think they were made in the Philippines, because when I got the box home, I bought it in Arizona. They said, "Oh yes, come from here. It's bottle brush. It's all bottle brushes," and but it said Philippines, so I think I was gypped. This is an antique one, very antique. It's from Mexico, and it's old, and so I like a lot of them. I also like this here. I got this at the Elliott Hospital after Christmas sale. You have the three magi, but then you have the nativity of the Holy Family. On one side you have the shepherds and the angels, and on the other side you have again the magi. I thought that was nice. This is a game, and it comes from Quebec. And it's a game that you pull up the star and everything falls apart. And I told that to some kids when we had the museum in Manchester, and they said, guess what? There's a kid who came and he pulled it up, and we could not put it together. It was so difficult, because all these are separate places, and if you look on the other side, it's the same image. But then trying to find and put them all out, it took us many weeks before and so don't you ever pull the star out of that way, because you will not be able to. This is some people collect this. This is a man who makes different kinds of statues, and they're collectible. This is from Venezuela. This one here is an interesting one. It was given to me by Bishop Gendron. I don't know if any of you remember Bishop Gendron. He is now the oldest priest in Manchester Diocese. He's 96 years old. And when he retired, he says, I have to give things away. You like nativities? And he said someone in Manchester in a ceramic class made that for him. And so that was a gift from Bishop Gendron to me. And these here are from Turkey, and they're made with bread dough. Bread dough. It's quite different. This is all kinds of special. This one here I like. I had bought that when I was a pastor in Peterborough, and this one here I bought in Italy, and it's different colored woods engraved into one another. This here is from Haiti, and if you look at them, they are very African. That how their hair is, their noses, their mouths, and they're all. It's made of clay. I have a couple from Haiti. This is another one, Mexico. There's so many good artists in Mexico. They do all kinds of things. I have another one from Venezuela in the back, and.
Yeah, they're talking of Africa. There's some over here that really I love. That
yes. There's a lot from Africa. When the Diocesan Museum closed, that when the Diocesan Museum closed, the Knights of Columbus have a museum in New Haven, Connecticut, where their headquarters are. And every year they had a theme. And so the first year after the museum, they said, do you have any from South America? Because it was Latin America was their theme. And so they borrowed like 40 of my Latin American ones, and they had nicer ones than mine. Mine are all little things, but they had some from Latin America that may be 3 feet high, and things like that. But it was very nice. The second year was Canada. I have quite a few from Canada. The third year it was Africa, and they bought about 40. And it was very nice because then they bought in Washington, D.C., they bought the John Paul II Museum. The John Paul II Museum was built by the Diocese of Detroit, and they could no longer swing it. And today it's been run by, and they said, you know, this is our first year as a museum. Could we bring the whole collection of trash and keep them for a whole year and bring that whole collection to Washington, D.C.? So these things have been in Washington, D.C. This one here I bought in Nairobi, Kenya, and it is ebony, and it's all hand carved, and I can't take it out, but you will see that they're very African. This here is from the Congo. It's a special kind of rock, and these here are from Kenya also. I hate to tell you that it's not Kenya. It is in South Africa. It's not written right. This is also South Africa, and it's made of burlap and beads. They do a lot of things with little beads in South Africa. These are wood, and these are Kenya also. And there is one that was from the Vatican. This one here is also Kenya, and it's all kind of rags. You know, it's a stuffed doll. And I think it used to be down below, I don't remember it. This is from Guatemala, and it's a certain village in Guatemala because all the people that have these special hats, and you can tell, I think it's called Maria, the village of Maria. This I like also. It is from Ecuador, and it is again burlap, but see how they have stained the burlap and worked the burlap and make even. There's a lot of work to this. Now these are, it's not Ecuador. Oh, sorry. This is Normandy. These are from France, and you see in Normandy, the ladies have these big headdresses for special occasions, and so the lady there and the young man there, it's like a wedding couple, but that even Mary, Joseph are dressed but this is wrong.
We're sorry about that, Brother John.
Get the screwdriver.
You know, there's about half a dozen that are wrong. But this one here is a lady in Manchester. She knew I had a collection, and she knitted that for me.
It's
now,
crocheted.
it's all crocheted, yeah. And the Christmas tree and everything, she gave me that. And so this I like. It's from Spain. It says Italy. It is Italy. I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. Yeah, this is very special. I have 2 different shepherds, and the 2 shepherds have flutes. And this is all made of clay. See, that thumb has been broken. It's very, very delicate. The face, the hands, and the feet are clay. The inside are just wires. And then there's one. This one has a real sheep thing. And this man here, I bought it in Assisi, where St. Francis. It was a beautiful shop, and they had hundreds of pieces to go with it, but I just got the 2 flutes, and I said, I'll be back. And then they had an earthquake in Assisi, and when I went back 2 years later, the whole shop was destroyed and never rebuilt. So that's from Assisi. This one here is from Madagascar. It's a Madonna from Madagascar, but I bought it in Montreal. I don't know if I'm talking too much, but this one here is Polish style, but it's people from Quebec. I went to Drummondville, and they had an international festival, and I bought that. This here I bought a long time ago in Brazil. This is also burlap, and this is Brazil, and this is a precious stone that can be made into jewelry, and it's just pieces of that precious stone, and they added some things to it to make them have eyes and mouths and things like that. So I thought that was rather unusual. And back here, there's only Mary, Joseph, and then the baby with two animals, and that is silver. It's silver, and it was very expensive. I brought it at a jewelry place in Paris. They had two angels, and I didn't have money to buy the two angels, but those the only places that make. But in time, the silver now looks gold. I don't know what kind of silver it is, but that's what happened to this. Am I talking too much?
No.
Okay. This is from Palestine, and Bethlehem is in Palestine, and I bought that in the town of Ein Karem from a school for orphans, and the nuns and the orphans make these, they show a father and mother and a child, and I said, well, it'll be my holy family from Palestine. This is from Oaxaca, Mexico. Oaxaca is famous for its pottery. They have black clay, and they bake the clay, and so this is all made with the clay from Oaxaca. This is nice. I like that one. It's from Canada, and you see, you can put the baby either in the arms of Jesus or the arms of Mary. This is from India, and everybody is dressed in the costumes of the country. This one, I have a story. This is from China, and look, the trees look very Chinesey, don't they? The women with their head, their way they comb their hair, and I saw this on the cover of a magazine from an Episcopalian church in Long Island, and so I called them after Christmas. I said, "Your nativities, are they on sale after Christmas?" And they said, "Yes, half price." I said, "Well, I'd like to have the one on the cover. Would you mail it to me?" "Oh, it's not half price if we mail it to you. It's only half price if you come here." So I went there, and I got many things there. I can see some. This here is from Guatemala. I found that at the airport on my way out, and it's all with the local cedar. And this Madonna is from Swaziland. And up there are some more santons. You see the lady that does the wool, and the other one that's making the thread from the wool. And there's the man who takes the wool off the skin. You know. So, and then there's the other one there that's combing the wool with his own little. So it's. This was also made by a person in Manchester. And this here is from Ireland. It's different colored woods, and it's a game for children. You can all take them out. Oh, I can't take it out. But you take them out and you move them around and do all kinds of things you want with them. There's another nice little one from Poland up there. And these here are Peruvian Indians and local people. This one here has a special story too. The Madonna is Yadro porcelain. It's the best porcelain from Spain, and it was a gift to me by one of my classmates for my 25th anniversary. But I had no baby, so I found a baby in a store in Boston, and the baby is the same company, but that's called Now. now is the cheaper porcelain from the same company, so at least I got a baby for it. Up there's a hand, and on the hand there are puppets. So you have puppets so that you can do the story of the Nativity with that. Next to it is Santons from Lyon in France. These are all clay, handmade, hand-painted, and then they have the special dances. They have the dancers doing the special dance for the Christ child, and there's the drummer, and it's very local color. There is from Nepal. In Nepal, we have the mother and child and the angel, and these special cattle that have so much hair because it's so cold in Nepal. That the cattle go long-haired, and we lost the baby. The baby's not there. And this is also Guatemala, and it's all made with rags by poor people. This is very typical of what they do in Peru.
There's some very interesting ones over here, Father.
This is interesting too. I like it's just straw. I have a crucifix in my own room at home. I used to have a crucifix collection and a Madonna collection, but this is all straw, and it's from Mexico again. This is again from Jerusalem, and it's the Holy Family. When I went to that special sale, they had this. This is from Germany. This is all stained wood, and they gave me 75% off because they're missing one magi and one animal. You may see that many mangers have 3 camels, because in the Holy Land there's a lot of work done by camels. But when we try to say he came for the whole world, we try to bring animals from different worlds. The camel from Asia, the elephant from Africa, and usually a horse from Europe. So it shows the different parts of the world. But and this one here comes from Oberammergau. Oberammergau is a place that has a passion play every 10 years, and next year, I think 2020 is the next year, they're going to have it, because I saw it in 1960 and 1990 and the year 2000. In the year 2000 I bought that, and that's all hand-carved faces and hands and statues, but then all dressed with real... and then there's only one that I have is not human, and it is this one here. It's snowmen. Some people say, I can sell you, a nativity made with mice. Well, Jesus didn't become a mouse. And I can sell you one with teddy bears. Well, he didn't become a teddy bear. But I think children who know the nativity scene can make a snowman nativity. So that's why this one I have decided to include in this in this place here. I like this one too. It's made in China, but it's you see the village in the dress of the different people. Mary's holding the baby, and yeah. Well, so you see this magi and that magi go with this set. These thin magi go with this set. You see, they're thin, and so it's a different artist. I'm glad I got all those up there, all by the same person. It's all made by the same person in southern France.
Excuse me.
I like this one. That's years ago I bought that. It's a gourd, and then they cut it in half, dug it out, and then they put on one side Adam and Eve in paradise. And in paradise, of course, there are llamas because there's llamas in Peru, and so there are llamas. On the other side, because of the sin of Adam and Eve, came the nativity. So you have the nativity on the other side, and And this one here I got really in Italy, but it is a Japanese. And in Italy they also made this one, which was Eskimo. But I have real ones made by Eskimos. And that one is a game, and I got that in South Africa. Again, all the pieces come separate one from the other. This one I bought at Walmart's after Christmas sale. I thought it was, I just like a modern thing. And it's interesting that La Salette has used that on their poster, and they also have it big in lights, and that's brother
Rob Roy.
What was his name?
Rob Roy.
No.
No, wasn't it?
No, it's Rayon, brother Rayon. Claude Rayon. Yeah, he's the one who liked that, and he's the one who made the big one outside. The first year you had that, and now I see it on some of the posters that he used that.
Brother Roy.
Yeah. And there's all kinds. Every one of them had a story. And here is a little interesting one here. This is, it says Mexico. It's not Mexico, it's Ecuador. Well, it should be switched. So Ecuador, this is made by Indians, and it's all woven straw, colored straw that they, I think it had to be made by little children, little hands. They made all these little tiny statues. The other ones there are from Ecuador, and that's bread dough. And so we have different things. This is an Amish. It comes from Amish country, and it's an Amish nativity. This one is from Poland, and it's made with white birch. I don't know if they call it birch in Poland, but it's all hand done. This is again, that is again Mexico, and this one here is from France, and it's one of my favorite ones. It is really beautiful. It's made of, it's almost like stone. It's very, very heavy, and so. But look at the beautiful how they do this. It comes all white or colored. And so I prefer the colored one. And it can go into the arms of Mary or Joseph, but we put it here. And you're not supposed to touch that, but I dare touch it to show it to you. This one here comes from Vietnam. The first Vietnamese priest who came to Manchester was one of my friends, Father Thiep. And he went home and he said, "Would you like anything from Vietnam?" I said, "Yes." I hadn't been there yet. I got that other one at the airport in Saigon, which is now Ho Chi Minh City. I like the name Saigon rather better, it seems. But he came back and brought this, and the way the hair of the mother and everything, and the fact that the Jesus is much bigger than the other is something they often do in nativity scenes, because Jesus is the main character in the story of salvation. Down below is another one from Palestine, and I got that at a Lutheran shop in Jerusalem, and they're all handmade, they're all hand embroidered, and every single embroidery is from the different cities. So there's one lady there in the back that has a black dress. Well, she has the embroidery of Bethlehem, and another lady has the embroidery of Jericho. And another lady has so the people can recognize each other by the embroidery on their clothing, because it's very typical to the place. This is Spain, and in Spain they do a lot of things like that. They make the statues, and then they take cloth and put some kind of paste on it, and it just freezes there, and so that's very typical of Spain. This one here is Inuit from Canada. Those are what we call maybe Eskimos, and so it's made of stone. It's very, very heavy. I have one here. You can tell that it's stone if you want to touch it, So, and it's soapstone, so it's easy to carve. and they do a lot of it. So I have the Holy Family, and I have a boy playing a drum and things like that. These are Indians, and this is like the flight into Egypt by the Hurons of Canada. I bought that at St. Anne de Beaupré, and they had it in the shop there. So when they went away, there was a desert, so they couldn't very well take a canoe. But for the Indians, when they hear the story, they put them in a canoe. And this was made by, see, this is really the same mold. And it was made by a brother in Canada. And one of them he painted differently. And this is again Eskimo. This is rather unique. This is a piece of slate. And then all the characters are made of leather. And I found that at the cathedral in Quebec. And here's another one of that same mold that somebody made even different in Canada. And so this is from Nova Scotia, I think, and it's all silver. I can't get them up. But the back of this is the back of them, and the front is the front of them. So they're very well made. And the middle one is the Holy Family, and it's meant to have a light inside to show it. These are some of the crystal ones, and the one in back there is really Poland. It's not written the name of that. And the only piece that isn't mine is this one here. This is an etched piece of glass, very nice. It was part of the Diocesan Museum collection, and so they sent it to me when they closed the place. This is a man from Canada, and every year he makes a Holy Family or something like that, and he makes them different sizes. He makes them especially for churches. And this one here is interesting because it's from Greccio in Italy. That's a little small town in the hills of Italy. See, it's at Greccio. And it is where St. Francis of Assisi made the Nativity. And it is, according to historians, they think that may be the first nativity scene anyone ever made. You know, not this picture, but it's coming, and it's a picture of Greccio. St. Francis had gone to the Holy Land, and he wanted to really illustrate well the story of the birth of Jesus. And so he asked to take the stable of a farmer, and he said, could I use that, and maybe we could bring a real baby, and I will talk about the story of the Nativity. And here's Francis at the altar, and next door in the same cave is a lady dressed as Mary, and then there's the baby, the animals, and then the people all come with their candle. In the night they came from different parts of the village, and so it's a nice part of the legends of St. Francis.
That's a lot of interesting information, Father.
Charles, it's interesting. My name's Ed McLaughlin.
Glad to meet you again.
I enjoy your creche collection very, very much.
Thank you.
It's kind of fitting we end up here with the letters from the children
Oh, yes, yes.
to Jesus for his birthday.
Yes,
So
I had seen that. That's a nice thing to do, yes. And they said they had over 1,000 one time?
It's amazing how many children that we come
Yes.
through here to see the creche
Yeah.
and to
Yes.
write their letters to Jesus and to renew their faith and keep going. So
Well, it makes me happy to know that, all these things have a special meaning for me, but I'm glad that other people are enjoying them, and I'm glad that you're here today to enjoy them too.
and I really appreciated the story about the Sanomes,
Santon.
Santons,
Little saints.
little say Santons.
Yeah, and the little saints are all the villagers coming to give whatever they have to the new baby. You know.
Well, thank you very much for doing this
You're
today,
welcome.
spending the time to help us be able to fully
Thank you.
appreciate what you've done here.
Very good.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Good.
Now to get you a coat.